Welcome to the presentation on interviews and what it looks like to prepare yourself and how to be the best version of yourself in an interview so that your future employer can see all the qualities that you have. And we're going to get started. My name is Pinto. You may be wondering, what is an interview? An interview is simply a conversation between a potential employer and a candidate that is applying for the job. So, an interview is mutually beneficial. A candidate is seeking out a job, and the employer is seeking out an employee to fit the job category. There are all types of different interviews, and each individual will have a different interview based off where they are applying or what position they are applying for. Some organizations and companies have set standards for them, and oftentimes you get to choose depending on where you're located. If you're located in somewhere that you can go in for an in-person interview, that is what I will always recommend, and that is the best one to do. However, there are a bunch of different kinds, such as Zoom or online interviews, which now have become more popular, as well as each of the Zoom or the in-person could be anything ranging from a one-on-one person interview where there's one person asking questions and one person answering, or a panel interview where you have maybe other employees or other people that are higher ranked in the company that will be asking you questions, or there is such thing as group interviews, which isn't as common, but group interviews focus on having all of the candidates in one room and see how you interact with each other while answering questions. In each interview, the interviewer or the future possible employer are seeking out a couple of things. One of them being, what can you do for us? So what can you do to better the company? As well as, why do you want to work for us? So why would you want to work for the company? Why did you pick this place to apply to? And then, what are you actually like as a person, and what can you bring to the table? Imagine an interview kind of like where you're scouting out a potential roommate. You are trying to find out as much about them and if they are the perfect fit to work alongside you and live with you. So, why should I hire you? So, this is something that is a question that you often need to think about, that the employer is probably thinking to themselves. So, you want to convince the employer why they should hire you. You can show them all of the information about you, as well as present them with a resume that shows why are you the most qualified for this position. Interviews are for both the employer and the interviewee. So you are also trying to learn why you want to be hired by this company while you're in the interview. During an interview, it can be very stressful and brings on a lot of anxiety for a lot of people. This is totally normal, but something that you must remember when going into an interview is self-confidence. This is one of my favorite quotes, as it says, one important key to success is self-confidence. An important key to self-confidence is preparation. So for each interview, you need to have confidence, but you also have to prepare for each interview you're going into. For each interview, there's going to be a before period when you find out that you have the interview or you have just applied. So these are the things that I recommend to do before you have your actual interview. Number one, research the company. When you apply, you should probably know what you're applying for, but if you do not fully know, you need to research the company and learn as much as you can about it. You want to develop questions based off your research that you can ask your future employer, as well as you're going to want to think through some responses to possible questions that they are going to ask you while you are being interviewed. You're going to, of course, want to plan what you're going to wear so that you look super business professional, as well as you're presenting yourself well to your possible employer. And you're going to lastly want to take care of yourself. A stressful time applying to jobs is something that can often cause some health concerns, and you can cause yourself to have lack of sleep. So what you want to do is make sure to continue to take care of yourself so that there isn't going to be anything hindering your ability to perform in an interview. Now, during an interview, so upon the interview, you are going to want to plan accordingly so that you can arrive early and be ready to go to show that you are a prompt person, as well as you're going to, as soon as you enter the interview, something I recommend is going and shaking the hand of the person that is interviewing you. You're going to want to greet each person if there are multiple people in there, and you're going to want to make an introduction of yourself and who you are. As well as throughout the whole interview, you're going to try your best to remain calm while answering questions, thinking through each question, processing, and then answering. If you have any questions about the questions that they have asked you, you want to ask for clarification on that. That way you can ensure that you are answering each question to the best of the ability. If you have a question that has multiple parts, make sure that you answer each part. They're questioning you, so they want to see how your brain is working and how you're going to process through one of those questions. As well as you're going to want to be enthusiastic, likable, and knowledgeable, and just show them your full version of yourself. You don't want to be a different person on paper as well as you are in an interview. You want to be coexisting and show yourself well. After your interview concludes, before you leave, you want to make sure that you say thank you to each person for their time while they were interviewing you. As well as when I leave, something I recommend for all people that I know that are going through interviews is to make sure that you follow up with an email. You want to thank them for their time, and if you have any other questions, that's a time you can ask them, as well as you can tell them that if you need any recommendations or references, that you can provide them for them. So you just want to finalize everything with a quick email to show them that you're still interested and just validate everything that you said. Remember to always be yourself, and you know yourself best. So any question that freaks you out, if it is about yourself, just breathe and answer it, because you know the answer better than they do. As well as interviews are stressful, and there are so much stress as well as anxiety caused by interviews. Just remember to take some time for yourself and prepare yourself for the interview. And I know you can do great if you take these skills and this advice that I've given you and apply it. Well, congratulations on moving on to the interview process. And I hope that this presentation has been helpful to you. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I would love to answer anything that you have.